בתודה. נריע ליצור אישנו בזמירות נריע לו. Let me hear ya. לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה לאדוני.
Well, you are in for a treat tonight. We got Cantor and Ken Kaufman. We're so glad to have you back. Is this your first service since High Holidays?
Yes.
Okay, well, we
Really?
welcome you back.
Oh my heavens.
It's so nice. We've been so lucky even after Paul's death to really have beautiful, wonderful music. So let me greet you with Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat air. I want you to breathe in all of that beautiful air, 70 degrees in November in Buffalo.
I tested it out at around, I don't know what time in the afternoon it was, and it said it was 74.
You actually had to have, how many of you can ever remember having air conditioning on in November? A long time ago, probably, right? All right, let's take a nice deep breath and think about all those beautiful moments from this week, and just please release out everything you want to get rid of. All right, we're ready for Bruce to come. Where do you want to go? You can either go over there, you can come up here. Is this one on?
Just try it out and we'll see.
We have it set up. We had a bar mitzvah here last week.
I think both of them should be on.
Shabbat Shalom. Look at this. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'll kind of look at the virtual people and you guys way over there. Good to see everyone. Admit it. Diane already said something to me earlier. She said, we were expecting an email today going, ooh, we're going to be outside. And I know we thought about it. The Cantor and Ken talked about wheeling the piano out into the parking lot. But Ken said, you got to get other people to help him do it. Because if you make him do it himself, he'll never come back. So we said, okay, we won't do that. Rabbi was just talking about it. How remarkable. November 4th, I was driving the convertible today. I had the windows open in my office. I mean, this is great. And I will tell you, it just makes us look forward to being back outside again that much more. That was our summer of Park and Praise were very special, but that was the only way we could be together. And the fact is, we're together. We can be together in this place, and it's a wonderful feeling to be able to do it. A quick note on a serious subject. I'm sure many of you saw the story about the threat to synagogues in New Jersey, which is being investigated. There is no connection here. Everyone is, aware of the threat down there. There is nothing here. But it's a good time for a reminder that, you should always be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you know the nearest exit. As they say on the plane, the nearest exit may be behind you. And in the sanctuary, it always is, because we have one over there, and we have one over there.
And one back here.
But we have one way up there. So if you want to fight your way past Ken and the Cantor to get to that door, you can always do so. So just always be aware of your surroundings. And of course, as we've gone through numerous trainings here, fight, flight, run, hide, fight. I didn't even remember.
He was ready to fight first.
Well, you know what? I've been a board member a long time. I'm ready. Anyway, but just to keep aware of that and always be aware of your surroundings. So we have a wonderful musical service planned for this evening. I'll be back later with announcements. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. There's a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple weeks. So I'll be back for that. In the meantime, enjoy the service. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Bruce. Just to let everyone know, because not everyone knows the inner workings of our larger community, we have a large security network that happens, and anytime there's a threat, like we... Oh, I got one. This is mine. I'm good.
Oh, so you don't need it back?
No, yeah, I don't have it.
And you sure it's
I
the
must
same
have-
one? Because somehow another Ken got the wrong one. Okay, get the, okay, good.
So just so everyone knows, we have a security liaison. Her name is Susan Damari. And anytime there is any threat, she's in touch with all the police force locally, also in Syracuse. And when something comes through, just in case you see something like this showed up on the news, and right away, just for my reaction, I would send it out to Rob Goldberg, Susan Damari, and Mara Coven-Gelman. We kind of act as a team, and if there was something that needs to happen, we made sure our synagogue knows. We have a very quick and assertive network. So if there's something that needs to be passed on along, it will be passed on to you. And we're very grateful. This is all since Tree of Life. We just had the anniversary last week, the 4-year anniversary. In that time, this network did not exist prior to that. And we've created something that we're now going to be trying to teach other religious communities and other places to share what we've learned along this way, because it's pretty challenging out there. We want everyone to feel safe in our community. Yes, it's very important for everyone to know, exit over here, exit over there, and in the back over here. All right. We are ready for candle lighting on page 120, and I'd like to invite up a good friend, Russ Grosser, who has come back to share Shalom. He had some health ailments. We're so grateful to have him back, and I thought it would be so nice for him to light candles. So if you want to look on that tray over there, the candle lighting is on page 120. And Russ was very brave. He came in an Eagles hat. Do you want to lead us, or you want?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik Shabbat.
And Russ, if you want to lift up the Kiddush cup, Kiddush can be found on 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho Be'ahava uvratzan hinchilanu zikaron lemasei v'reshit ki hu yom techilah lemikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim Kivharu v'achata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Thank you, Russ. May the lights of our Shabbat candles light our way through our service and into Shabbat. We are going to officially welcome in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, page 138. We're going to say the first and the last, sing the first and the last verse. And the last verse, we rise and face our doorway over there, and we bow to the Shabbat bride as she enters. We have a Shabbat bride here, by the way, Sue Khan. We're so glad that you're here. She celebrated her 100th birthday a couple months ago. So wonderful to have her. So then we welcome one another by waving, just like this.
Lecha Dodi likra kala, hene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala, hene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zechor b'tim orechad, ishmiyanu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo.
Remain standing, sorry, almost caught you. Remain standing for our call of community, page 146, the Baruch Hu.
La 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 la.
We remain standing on page 148, and let's read together in the Hebrew. The transliteration is beside the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'dvaro mariv aravim b'chochma poteach sharim u'tuna mishani etim u'machalif et hazmanim u'mesader et hakokavim b'mishmeroteim b'rkia kirtzono Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshek, v'choshek mipnei or, umavir yom umevi layla, Umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai Svaot Shemo, El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Blessed are you, God, who brings on the evening. Page 150, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Bet Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Ukimu mishpatim Atanu limadata Watanu limadata Aleken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokvenu Uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha V'nizmach b'divrei toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki chem chayenu Ve'orek yameinu Uvahem nekeyomam balayla Nekeyomam balayla Ve'aham vadcham atasim Mimenu le'olami Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael
Page 152, 153, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We turn to the V'ahavta, page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meotecha ve'ayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzav lecha hayom al levavecha V'shinanta levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shokbecha u'v'kumbecha u'kashartam leon tayadecha ve'ayu levalavot beinenecha uchtavta המזוזות ביתך ובשמרך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לרעיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 155, let's read together in the English. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gates. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. I love this particular translation. It really brings to life that this is about going out into the world. It's not about studying here. It's about going out and teaching and rising and waking and all of that thing. I'm not even sure, is it which words? I guess the Shema, or is it all the words of the Torah? It's kind of ambiguous there. Let's turn to page 158 about that moment of crossing the sea, Mi Chamocha.
Ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Bikama elim Adonai, bikamo chapedam hakodesh, norati. Join me in the Yababais. Here we go. Ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Benamar, Yivadadonai Yaakov, Ugaloi Biachazak Mimanu, Baruch atah Adonai, God Yisrael.
On page 161 at the top, this is a song we've often sung. Let's read this together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. I invite you to rise if you're able for the Amidah, the standing prayer, starting on 164 to 180. Take time, actually, we'll continue services on 178. So take a couple of minutes for your own thoughts and reflections, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. We're going to turn to Shalom Rav, one of our favorites in our Jewish community, for I guess the last 30 years or so. Page one. I remember when it came out. Well, you probably remember better, but it was when I was in 6th grade. That's when it started.
Oh my!
It started to become so popular. They were teaching it. I remember the music teacher when they taught this one. Page 178. It's from Sinai, right?
Shalom Ra Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Ra Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lekol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lekol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael v'kol leid v'kol shah v'shlamecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We're going to turn now to our healing prayers on page 371. I have a couple of people I just want to let you know what's going on from this past week, and then we're going to send some special prayers to. First of all, Sonia Sugarman, poor thing, broke a number of her ribs. She's in pain, but she's doing pretty well. She asked us for definitely to think about her, and unfortunately it waylaid her plans to go to Florida. Joyce Seitz, a lot of you know Maureen. Joyce has really been struggling. I think hopefully she's starting to move in a different direction now. And I saw Rachel Anderson today. I know she's been in our prayers. She's a wonderful tutor in our community. She is starting to do better after 5 weeks. I think she's maybe moving towards rehab or getting out of the hospital. So send a lot of prayers her way. We're also, we're going to say our list here, and if you have other names, just raise your hand afterwards. We're also thinking about Lynn Bass, Eli Burgum, Stephen Bernstein, Joseph Dash, Father Dreyfish, Gary Philippone, Sue Frank, Antonio Franzen, Leslie Garfinkel, Marlene Glickman, Rochelle Goodman, Sharon Gray, Irene Green, Paula Jones, Ken Kellick, Gail Lewis, Joe Malucci, Patricia Newton, Jill Shire, Monahan, Shel Rossi, Brandon Ryan, Carol Silverman, William Scretany, Nicholas Warren Tepper, Adam Tindlin, Kristen Walker, Anita Wiesel, Mike Wheeler, Kristen Zalowiski, Karen Batsara Ruvain HaKohen, Rivka Bat Tova Benjamin, Rafaela Bat Suvea, Avraham ben Rivka, Aviva Bat Shoshana, and Chana Ezra ben Shuel. If there's other names you'd like to say.
Arnold Cohen and Jason Gotobat. Arnold is Renee Clark's brother. He had very major surgery last night. And,
He's doing well. Let's bring all those names into our hearts, in addition to the other names maybe that weren't said out loud, and all of us here that could use a little extra healing. 371 again, Misha Berach.
Misheberach Avotenu B'kol habracha V'himotenu the source of strength who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
A complete healing of body and soul. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Let's see, I'm going to try this time. With all of this equipment, I think let's see if,
I think you're attached.
I know this is what happens every time. Okay. Oh, I think I'll have a. I'm attached to the mic here.
And you have here, you have your threaded into the flower pot.
I'm in the flowers. In the weeds, is that?
Oh, here we go.
Brilliant with that, thank you.
There we go. Looks like that's what you got today. This is what you got.
I got a short leash here, okay. So I heard a beautiful description of God today. I was listening to a podcast I listened to called Judaism Unbound, and they were interviewing Michael Lerner. Has anyone heard of Michael Lerner here? He's out of San Francisco, started Tikkun, a very radical rabbi, well, to say the least. And he was asked about God, what he understands about God. And he said something that was similar to what Mordecai Kaplan said years ago, but he changed it a bit. He said, God is the power that makes for transformation. I love that. He couldn't believe in a personal God, but he believed in, Mordecai Kaplan always said, God is the power that makes for salvation. But this is different. God makes for the possibility of transformation. So that type of God, I feel most especially when I open Chinese fortune cookies. Does anyone have this experience with Chinese? You know, because you can never get a signal for God except when you get a fortune cookie. Now, most of us, you probably get a fortune that, like, you know, most of the fortunes, they're not really fortunes anymore. I think what they try to do is not offend you. But I always get a fortune that's appropriate. I have no idea why, but I can't even tell you the number of times it happens. Is that, Cantor, do you get things like that? You're lucky. She always wins every game that we have.
I actually haven't done this in many years. I bought, I guess it was 10 tickets to the Powerball today. I sent Michael out.
She bought the Powerball. What is it up to, like $1 billion?
I have no idea.
All right, well, she's donating it to the synagogue.
What is
so
it?
$1.5 billion.
Yes. What?
$1.5 billion. $1 billion.
$1 billion and then half of $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
$1 billion and a half.
What can you even do with that? You'll be
We
like
will
the richest person in the world.
We will renovate.
Yeah,
this whole
that's what I was going to say.
building.
You're going to buy Twitter?
Oh, I don't think, no.
Yeah,
How many
it'll be
billions?
worth $1 billion by then. So this is my fortune for tonight. And tell me, and I'm going to tell you the Torah portion, and you're going to say, it's amazing. There is a God. I'm telling you. if you wait too long for the perfect moment will pass you by. Now, we are in Genesis, and we're in chapter 12, and we are beginning the story of Abraham. Abraham is someone, or Avram as he's known, who doesn't need to wait for the perfect moment. He just takes off. It's a beautiful example of what to do. Just take action. Don't think about it at all. And this gets him in trouble throughout his life, most notably with his son Isaac. I think you've probably heard how he took him without thinking much, and just God says, "Why don't you go take him and bind him up?" And Abraham says, "Sure, let's go." But it is something that propels the story forward and creates a world. It creates monotheism, really. This is contrasted with Rivka, his daughter-in-law, Rebecca, who always thinks through things. When she's pregnant, she says, she hems and she haws. Well, what's fighting inside of me? How do I do things? She scopes out what's going to happen to Jacob and Esau, and she has everything planned in her head. And she always is methodical. Even when later on, when she is given to Isaac, she has to think about it. She doesn't just instantly leap up. So I want to ask you, how many of you here feel like you're closer to Abraham, that when you need to do something, you just go out and do it? Or whether you're closer to Rebecca, that you want to think about what your possibilities are? So raise your hand if you are closer to Abraham. Yeah, Bruce, I could see that. I'm definitely an Abraham. Who is closer to Rebecca? It's about equal. It's equal here. Each of them is important, but each of them is very different. So we actually have a formula in Judaism about how to approach whether you should just go out and take action or whether you should maybe think and consider. And that formula can be found on page 644. So if you look in your prayer box, this is one of the very famous sayings of the Mishnah, the book Pirkei Avot. It is the second quote in the first chapter of Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of Our Parents, which is a collection. It's basically a teaching text. So if you see there, let's see. My page is turned.
Are you looking for 642?
642. Yeah, you know what happened? My page turned. That's what happened. Sorry about that.
It blew open.
Yeah,
while
it blew
you were
open. Yeah.
talking.
I went over. Yeah, it went over. See, I'm not lucky with that. Just fortune cookies. Okay. So if you see the second reading there, this is the formula that we have for how to approach things in our life. There are three things that the world stands or is sustained by. Torah. Torah is study. That's the Rebecca, right? Al-avodah. Avodah is action. It's the ritual. It's coming to services. It's the doing in the world. And lastly, on acts of loving kindness. This is a wonderful formula. 1/3 study, 1/3 action, and 1/3 just being nice. I mean, can you think of a better formula for how to think about things? So, because often there's a famous case study of seminarians. And they have them study the text. These are Christian seminaries. They have them study the text of the Good Samaritan. And they have to do a teaching of it. I think it's on a college campus. But they have to go a little while to go to the teaching. And they're given very little time. And so they're very worried about their teaching. And if you know the Good Samaritan, it's basically about being nice to people, watching out, especially for the poor and the people that are forgotten. So what they did, and this is a very clever study. Have you heard of this one before? They put a homeless person there on their path, or someone dressed in it, asking for money. And so what happens is, as they're rushing out, they want to see, after the seminarians have just studied this text, which is about looking out for people, will they be so worried about getting to speak at to give their sermon that they will not actually do what they need to do? And sure enough, what do you think happens? They're worried about getting to the sermon on time. And for the majority of them, fail the test that they didn't know that they were doing. So we have this formula here that's right here in our prayer book, that's from our holiest text, that says that you need to actually study a little bit, go and do a little bit, but also just always keep in mind good deeds become before anything else. And it's wonderful. So we're going to do a little study, and I'm going to have you open your leaflet for this. In your leaflet, and I apologize, it is very small. I've noticed as my eyes have gotten worse and worse. Let's see, I have last week's leaflet. I know I have it. All right, so it's on the left hand. Oh, here. It says under Lech Lecha Moments, there's a box. And this is a wonderful text here, which has to do with study and action. And there's some questions underneath. So I want you just to take a moment. I'm going to read it just so those of us joining on the stream. I think the leaflet is available, but I'll read it through for people that also like the audio better. So the text is, Rabbi Tarfon and the elders were once reclining in the upper story of Nitzah's house in Lod, when this question was posed to them: which is greater, study or action? Rabbi Tarfon answered, saying, action is greater. Rabbi Akiva answered, saying, study is greater. All the rest agreed with Akiva, that study is greater than action because it leads to action. So the questions are, what is the relationship between study and action? What do you think? Because it's posed here. Think of a class or book or movie or song that led you to take action. And how can study sometimes get in the way of action? Which do you think comes first? You don't have to answer all of these, but turn to the person next to you or behind you and see if you can have a little chavruta discussion. What do you think? All right, there's a wonderful buzz. I know Cantor and I and Cantor and Ken and I were having a great discussion there. But I love the buzz of a study hall. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
What do you think? Did anyone come up with anything? Any good answers to the question of what's the balance between, or if there's something that really inspired you in your life? We were talking about music, and there's some great music that's inspired us. What do you think? Chicken comes before the egg. So if the chicken is the chicken action. Oh, that's a riddle there.
That is.
Mm.
There's many different types of intelligence, there's many different types of approaches. I mean, I was saying to Hardy, we're commanded, Torah, Mishnah, we're commanded to work. Work. Make Kama, make Torah.
Mm.
And it's all well good if you are, say, yeshiva, you stay in Israel, if you're in yeshiva, that's all well good for studying and all that, but if you can't contribute to the greater good, so isolate yourself, you can't contribute to Medina, Israel, or you can't do anything like that, you're not giving back to the community outside your immediate family, your immediate yeshiva. It's not living your Judaism. For me, it's not right, but that's just me.
So Russ was pointing out that in Judaism we have people that just study all the time, and they think that that's gonna be the salvation. And Russ is saying for him that's not enough. I think also what you said is if your study and your action aren't aligned, then you get a feeling of hypocrisy, that there's a dissonance, and that could be one of the dangers. I think it's a wonderful, let's continue after services, and why don't we go to 642, and Cantor has prepared a version of Al Shlosha Devarim, which is that second one on the page.
And I hope you all sing along with me. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Habolam, Omer. One more time. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Habolam, Omer. Al Torah, Al Havodah, Al Gemirut Chasadim, Al Torah, Al Havodah, Al Gemirut Chasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Habolam, Amen.
And it leads perfectly into Aleinu on 586. Invite you to rise, and I'm going to open our ark. You're going to notice for the first time in 2 years, we actually have our regular yearly Torah covers finally back on.
Oh my.
It's amazing. Look at that. See? 586.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחת האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומדים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש
591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We're going to turn to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. For those of you here that are in mourning or reciting a yard site, we're so grateful we can provide this space, and that is really one of the most important things that we can have as a community together. We are thinking about this week those who died in the last month. Sonia Breitbart, Grace Gluck, Donald Sirota, and Janet Sirota. We're also remembering from years past Vivian Berkowitz, Rosalie Blatt, S. Stephen Block, Deborah Cohen Bloomberg, Aaron Broder, David G. Brown, Charles Cassover, Bertha Siegel Constantino, Esther Citron, Rose Eisgrau, and we're especially thinking about Sheila. This is her mother. Isabel L. Epstein, Hannah Fishman, Louis Glasser, Edward Glazer, Ardith Grosser, Gail Haber, Gladys Hanford, Leonard Horowitz, Edward Carls, Jenny Kaufman, Ann Caton, Jack Caton, Marion Tasman Klein, Joseph Kornblatt, Esri Kramer, Lois Queller, Elsie Mitofsky, Harry Moss, Frederick A. Nitka, Gertie Oberlander, Rika Oberlander, Sigmund Oberlander, Marvin Organic, George Ovid, Irene Pearson, Lynn Reich, Bernard Robinson, Harlan Clarence Rumsey, Sidney Schoner, Carol Lessis Schwartz, Lee Singer, Philip Slepian, Fanny Slonim, Sarah Sletsky, Basie Tsepainik, Carl Vogel, George Weinrub, Ann Weinstein, Reuben Weinstein, Dora Weiner, Mildred Ziller, and the 91 Jews who were murdered on Kristallnacht. 91 Jews. We'll go around if you have other names that weren't mentioned.
Shirley Nadell. Michael's aunt just died 2 days ago.
Nadell too. Just like Ira. I wonder if they're related. So that's Michael's aunt died, Shirley. We'll rise, those of you whose custom it is to rise as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalmad, Yivrach, Yiratei, V'yamlik Malchutei, B'chayachon, V'yamachon, B'chayei, Dechol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, V'izman, Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah, Mevorach, Le'olam, Olmeo, Maya. Yitbarak, V'yishtabak, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudasha, Brechu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushvachata v'nechamata, Damiran Bialma V'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shlam Rabba min Shemaya, Chaim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'yimromav, Huyaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yal Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'yimru, Amen. May God grant peace in our community and the world, and throughout the world we say, Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. Zikronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. I'd like to invite up Bruce Chorus for our announcements. You can come up there, whatever you want.
I like it down here. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you to Mark Nightinger for being our service greeter this evening for a change. I got here, there was no one at the door. Mark was rushing over. I said, well, you're slacking off. He said, I'm not it tonight. I said, I don't see anyone else. And he was. So thank you for doing that. Thank you to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, and Ken Kaufman for really, really nice service tonight. I know we weren't out there, but it was very nice. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So tomorrow we do not have any virtual offerings. Torah study is going to meet in person at 9 a.m. at Dash's Market on West Klein Road in the cafe. A little Torah study, a little shopping. If you go to the butcher counter, don't get the stuffed pork chops, especially on Shabbat. That's not a good thing. But that's kind of neat that we're doing that. Then the Shabbat morning service will take place at Canterbury Woods in person at 11 a.m. Congratulations to the women of Shir Shalom. They had a lovely paid-up luncheon this past Sunday. Congratulations to Toby Horowitz, who won the beautiful quilt auction, the quilt that was made by our very own Judy Stern. Thank you to Judy for making that beautiful quilt and donating it. That auction raised more than $2,000, which is amazing. That's great. So thank you to Judy. Thank you to the women of Shir Shalom for everything that you do. And of course, congratulations to Toby. Speaking of the women of Shir Shalom and everything they do, you may have noticed that we are closed off from the social hall. That's because the social hall is filled with stuff. This Sunday is the Women of Shir Shalom rummage sale, and they have been sorting and setting up all week. It looks like savers in there. It's amazing. They've got so much stuff piled high. You can still donate stuff tomorrow, and they'll be here tomorrow doing the last minute sorting and setup. So like 2 to 5, I think tomorrow is the best time. So go home, clean out your closets, clean out your drawers. Diane, clean out his closet. And bring stuff tomorrow, because every dollar that the women of Shir Shalom raise comes right back to the temple in so many ways. And we're so appreciative of everything that they do. So please help out. And you can still volunteer to help out. If you come tomorrow, you can sort. If you want to come over Sunday morning to help out. Julia is not here tonight. She's home resting, gearing up for the weekend. But talk to her. She'll take care of whatever you want to do for them. And speaking of the women of Shir Shalom, there's a table out front with the wine glasses. As you know, they had lovely 10th anniversary wine glasses made for members. If you haven't picked up yours yet, do so. If you want to get an extra one or two, these are what's left over. So grab a couple. They're really nice. And let's use them up, because they're really, really nice. And of course, it pays to have your own special wine glass for Shabbat, for the holidays. Always a good thing. Oh my, Shavetas is back. Ooh, Shavetas is back on Tuesday, November 15th. That is a week from Tuesday. Make your reservation. Thank you to everyone who supports that or volunteers for it. We have one more after this one. We have the one in November 15th, and we're going to do one in December, knock on wood, and then that will be it, not just for the year, obviously, but for the season. We'll resume in the spring sometime, probably May, maybe April, we'll see. But anyway, thank you to everyone who supports Shavetas. So that is on the 15th. If you ordered pies or fudge from the Women of Shir Shalom Becker Farms fundraiser, the orders are closed. Pickup will be Sunday, November 20th from 2 to 4, Tuesday, November 21st from 4 to 6 p.m. There's going to be a special event with the Jewish Repertory Theater this Tuesday at 6:30. They're going to have a community book read panel for The Chosen, which will feature the cast, the crew, Rabbi Alex, and Inav Simons, the director of our community religious school. Registration is required. Please go to jccbuffalo.org. We have many more things coming up. They're in your service leaflet. Please take that home with you. Put it on your refrigerator so you'll know everything that's coming up, because there is a lot. We're having an oneg tonight. We weren't outside, but we have an oneg with cake. We have cake. Again, another step toward normalcy. Not going to do it every week, but tonight we're going to have cake.
We have cake.
We have cake. Joanne decided she didn't want to bake all those cookies and wrap them in plastic individually. We have cake. So enjoy the oneg. If you would ever like to sponsor an oneg for a special occasion or no occasion at all, maybe in honor of the announcements going on longer and longer, which is at your request. Every week people say, make the announcements long as you want. Take the time away from the rabbi's sermon if you need to. I said, okay, we can do that. Anyway, enjoy the oneg. If you need anything, we're here for you. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for being part of this really wonderful Shir Shalom family.
Thank you. Marcia Bougie donated all her. Do you know that my son, my 9-year-old, he came back with 10 pounds of candy.
Wow.
He slung it off, he's only about this high. He slung it over his shoulder. It was crazy.
Pirates booty. Thanksgiving.
I'll be tripping over it. So just also I have a good friend coming up, Donnie and Eric, that are going to be performing their group Nefesh Mountain. It's at the Buffalo Iron Works at 7 o'clock on Thursday. I definitely encourage you. They're a very well-renowned and respected bluegrass band, and it's a wonderful experience. I'm going to try to get tickets for our community, but I definitely highly recommend. And we have, in a month and a half, Hanukkah, our next holiday. We are going to be in Chelm, and we're already preparing some stories. Some of you guys might be actors in it, or if you'd like to be, we got a couple of different skits we're going to be doing, and we have music. I think Ken's joining us that night, right?
Yep.
And we're going to have latkes, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So tell everyone you can dress up in old world garb, and we're going to have a lot of fun. If you don't know Chelm, we were trying to decide a moniker, but it's kind of like upside down world. December 23rd. Yeah, we got a month and a half. Okay, we are ready for Adon Olam, page 625. And I like it says a folk turn. That's the folk turn.
Yeah, this is... Is anyone really, really educated in opera arias? Anybody? This Adon Olam, which everybody sings all over the place, is a direct quotation from an opera. Because I once worked with someone and they said, "Oh, that's from the da 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 from the da 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 aria." So, but it sounds operatic, and one of these days I will figure out what it's from. Maybe it'll trigger something with you. But this is the folk Adon Olam, and you guys know it. Adon Olam. Hashem halach b'terem kol yitzini v'ra li'et nasa b'chefso kol asayin v'elek shemo nikra Adon Olam v'yachare kiklot hakol levado himot nara Adon Olam v'hu haya v'hu haya Adon Olam Hashem halach b'terem kol yitzini v'ra li'et nasa b'chefso kol asayin v'elek shemo nikra Adon Olam v'hu echad v'ein sheni v'chamshilo le'achbira Adon Olam v'ri reshit v'ri tachlit v'lo ha'ozah ha'mizrach Adon Olam Hashem halach b'terem kol yitzini v'ra li'itnasa v'chefso kol asayin v'elek shemo nikra Adon Olam v'hu eli v'chaychu ali v'tzorchev li pi'etzara Adon Olam v'hu nisi v'manus li v'nakasi b'yom nekadon. Everyone! Adon Olam Hashem halach b'terem kol yitzini v'ra li'et nasa v'chefso kol asayin v'elek shemo nikra Adon Olam b'yado havkiv ruchi v'yeti shan Ve'ahira Adon Olam Ve'imruhi Eviati Adonai Ve'lohira Adon Olam Adon Olam Hashem Malach B'terem Kol Yitzin Nivran Yitnasa Ve'kefsako Azay Melech Shamonikra Adon Olam.
Beautiful. Russ, you want to come up and get our challah? Just lift that up for us, and that is your gift from the synagogue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, please leave in peace and return your prayer book minus the leaflet to the front of the outside the sanctuary, and enjoy the cake. Shabbat shalom.
Devarim, Havolam Amen. Havolam Devarim, Havolam, Havolam Amen. Havolam Devarim, Havolam Devarim, Havolam Amen. Havolam Devarim. Havolam, Havolam, Amen. Hala Torah, Yalla Avoda, Hala Gemilut Chasadim. Hala Torah, Yalla Avoda, Hala Gemilut Chasadim. Devarim, Devarim, Havolam Amen. Devarim, Devarim,